I mean, look, guys, OKC are the new champions. SGA with a spectacular season. Cone, some of y'all might know him. Amazing figure on Twitter. He's like the most diehard OKC fan. Every OKC fan loves him. He's all over the place, man. Let's see what he has to say about his team finally winning a chip.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone, and the Oklahoma City Thunder are your 2025 NBA champions. I was at Paycom Center in the arena for Game 7. I lost my voice. I bawled my eyes out when they won it all. If you want to see that full reaction video, which makes the previous crying video look like absolutely nothing,
Mm,
that's featured in the video that just dropped over on the Snapback Sports channel that documented my journey as a content creator, as a Thunder fan, going from the rebuild days to now being at Game 5 and Game 7, seeing them close it out. Genuinely one of my favorite videos ever created. I will link that down below, and I'll try to pin a comment with it as well. But here we are. They went ahead and they got the job done in Game 7. I feel like I'm on top of the world at the moment. So let's go ahead and talk about how Game 7.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people throw out a lot of hate for this series, but I genuinely found it fun. I'm glad we got 7 games because I just love seeing good basketball from both teams. I would have been happy too if the Pacers won and Halliburton got a chip. Again, it's unfortunate he got injured, but I was going for OKC. I do like SGA as a player more, so I'm glad they won.
Went, how the Thunder secured their first championship, and maybe a little bit about what's going to happen going forward, because obviously this Thunder team, with how young they are, the second youngest champions ever, there's a really long runway. People are going to start talking about dynasty potential, and I don't want to get into that
Yep,
too much. I want to
they have dynasty potential. Hold up, chat. I gotta give me a second. I gotta go. Be right.
stay in the moment. But this team definitely has a shot to do so if there ever was a team in this modern era. But the reason the Thunder won Game 7 was the defense. All season, this has been one of the best defenses in NBA
Yep,
history.
bro. They force so many turnovers. Like I actually loved watching them defensively. Even if in the fourth quarter their offense was lacking, they still played really well defensively the whole game, in my opinion.
They have forced turnovers at a historic rate. They have clamped teams up. They have stopped a number of the best offenses in basketball dead in their tracks. And that was the case again here. The Pacers shot just 41% from the field, ended up turning the ball over 21 times. Really just could not get much of anything going.
Yeah, and I mean I don't know how much it matters, but I will say that a lot of like the final like points that allows them to get that run where they were starting to catch up, but they're still behind by 12 was it was like all free throws. It slowed down the pace of the game so much, so it was kind of uninteresting. But hey, that's good defense.
And part of that was Tyrese Halliburton being
Like there was no field goals made from the Pacers in that last like 4 minutes, or at least that I can recall.
injured. Of course, we'll talk about
Well, of course, Mathen put one up. I remember, and but regardless, like there weren't that many field goals made.
that. Once I get to the Pacer side of things, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander empties the clip in this one. Not his most efficient game, but 29 points, 12 assists with just one turnover. And that was the big thing for Shai, is the playmaking. The reason the Thunder won this game, got enough offensively to get the job done, because it was ugly at times like most Game 7s are, was his playmaking. He was setting up shooter after cutter. Shai, that's one of the big areas he took a leap in this season, but there still were a couple of times in this series where it felt like Shai got a little bit too much in his scoring bag and wasn't leveraging his playmaking enough. But when he does that, there's truly nobody that can stop this Oklahoma City Thunder team. And he really leveled up over the course of this season, over the course of the past few years, to the point when the Thunder need him most, coming off of Game 6, where he had 8 turnovers and I believe it was not a single assist. Shai comes out and has one of the best playmaking games of his entire career, in addition to hitting some tough buckets, hits a couple of threes. Jalen
Mhm.
Williams, another big game from him, 24, 4, 2 steals, hit a couple of threes as well. There was one stretch where Shai, Dub, and Chet, the big three, all hit threes back to back to back. And Chet Holmgren has one of his best games of the finals,
Yeah,
18
bro. I swear, I saw Jade. Like, bro, that was okay. So just the run was crazy because they went 9-0 with the big three hitting threes. I don't know how J Dub keeps getting away with it, but he be shooting threes that look like they're not gonna go in, and then they just go in.
points, 8 rebounds, 5 blocks. That is the most by anybody in a Game 7 ever. And this was one of his best defensive games of his entire career. Those three guys got the job done when the Thunder needed it most. And this is a big three that I have defended a ton. I've defended Shea, I've defended Jalen Williams as the second option, and Chet as that third guy, the guy that really holds it all together as one of the best rim protectors, if not the best rim protector in the entire sport at the moment. And for them to go ahead and be the trio that gets it done after Katie, Russ, Harden weren't able to do so, it feels like the Thunder have been given a second opportunity with a young big three that have all the potential in the world. And it makes me so happy to see these three guys be able to lift Larry O'Brien Trophy and get it done together in a very
And it really is so important that they're young, bro, because this team has so much potential. Like, call me biased, but I really think in the East, a healthy Celtics are uncontested, and in the West, OKC is uncontested. I feel like we're gonna be seeing a lot of the Celtics and OKC throughout playoffs for the next couple of years. And even if it's not that, uh, the Spurs, the Wolves are doing amazing. The Knicks have been getting so much better. As much as I hated them for getting us out, Knicks are looking good. So regardless, it's looking like good basketball for the next couple of years. There's a lot of good players that are coming out, man.
early stage in them being a trio. Like, this is the second season that Shea, Jadam, and Chet have all played together. And it's like hardly a second season because Chet missed a majority of this year with that hip injury. So
Hmm.
Chet being able to do what he did, dominate defensively the way he did in game 7 is something special in its own right. But never mind the growth, the just trajectory this trio is on, despite not being able to play together very often. It's hard to even fathom. Jalen Williams is now a champion, an all-star, an all-NBA player, an all-defensive player in his third season. Shea, at the age of 26, not only has a Hall of Fame resume, he has one of the best guard resumes out of anybody in the modern era. He is an MVP, a scoring champion, a three-time All-NBA first-teamer, a Finals MVP, the first player to get
Yeah, I'm so proud of Shea, bro, Hall of
Finals
Famer
MVP
already.
and MVP since LeBron James in 2013, and the first player to add a scoring champion on top of that in I think like 20 years or something along those lines. The big three were the reason this thing majority got done, and a lot of that starts defensively, but they also carry the load on the
Okay, wait. Nah, I know he's gonna get to it, but tell him about the torture chamber, bro. Tell him about the torture chamber.
offensive end as well. Okay, 29 from Shea, 18 from Chet, 20 from Jalen Williams. That is a combined, if I can do some quick math here,
Dort had the ugliest look from three from the fucking logo and somehow sank that, bro. I would hate to have been someone that bet against Dort last night, bro, because that was insane.
67 points out of the 103 that the Thunder scored, majority of them. And I couldn't be happier that these are the three guys that are going to be leading the Thunder into this next era and hopefully what ends up becoming a dynasty, if you ask me. But also was Lou Dort, who had a couple of threes and was incredible defensively, had 3 steals, hit 1 3 from the absolute like definition of the logo, a shot clock heave. That was a special moment. And to see Lou go from someone who was being left open in game 7 against the Rockets to hitting a couple of threes, being the Thunder's most reliable three-point shooter for a majority of these finals, and this lockdown defender, from him crying on the podium because the Thunder lost game 7 against the Rockets in his rookie season, to now being able to sit there with the Larry O'Brien Trophy. It's something incredibly special. Lou Dort's one of my favorite players ever. Someday that number 5 will be hanging in the rafters, and I couldn't be happier for him alongside
Yeah, I if you come over here with Dort hate, I don't even want to hear it.
this big three. Isaiah Hartenstein, big game from him as well. 4 assists, did a great job passing to Cutter, 7 points, 9 rebounds, special in just 18 minutes. It felt like he made such a massive impact. Alex Caruso, I can't say enough good about Alex Caruso. Now a 2-time champion, 10 points, 3 steals, wreaking havoc, hit 2 threes when the Thunder couldn't get much going early in this game. He was hitting 3 after 3. Case in
Yeah, bro, no bullshit. It's heavily between Caruso and McConnell for White Boy of the Year. I will say to McConnell, he played his fucking heart out, bro. It's sad for him, but UI White Boy. But yeah, Caruso and McConnell, they is White Boy of the Year, bro. It's between them two. Last year was Pritchard for sure, but we know who stepped up this year.
Walls too, had a really rough game 6, has had a rough finals for the most part, but was game breaking defensively in this one. Finished with 10 points, 2 3 shooting from the outside as well. Just a complete team effort, which is what the Thunder have done all season. It's spearheaded by the big three, Caruso and Hartenstein and Casey. Like, those guys are important, and Lou Dort, but really everybody provides something of value.
Imagine if we got a game 5 performance from Wiggins, bro, where he's just raining down threes. That dominance would have been insane.
Mark Daniel, I thought he did a great job coaching as well, getting these guys in position, getting easier shots on the offensive end. He is now an NBA champion and a coach of the year in just a few short seasons. This is one of the greatest rebuilds of all time. I've said that before, and people said, oh, you can't say that until they're champions. They're champions now. And there's no reason to not call this one of the best rebuilds in the history of the sport because that is just the truth of the matter. Like, teams aren't supposed to go from 19 wins to the mountaintop this quickly. Teams aren't supposed to go from trading away the best player in franchise history, Russell Westbrook, in 2020 and 5 years later being the NBA champions. That's not really the way it's supposed to go. But Shea, Dub, Chet, Dort, Caruso, Hartenstein, all these guys got the Thunder back to this point, and this could only be the beginning. Again, incredibly young team. There's still so much growth. I feel like offensively, the team definitely needs to make some strides over the course of this offseason, whether it's
Yeah, defensively they're real hitters and they're very good in that aspect. I want to see less offensive dry spells from them.
schematically or making additions because that was definitely the weak point. Like the defense brought the Thunder to this point, but offensively, they've got to be better shooting the three ball, have to be better in terms of shot creation, playmaking, and like Nikola Topic, I think could help with that potentially. A full offseason and some growth from Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams, who's only going to get better. And obviously, Shea has gotten drastically better every season of his career. Like, I think a lot of that will come internally, but I wouldn't be shocked if outside additions are made because, in the NBA, you can never really stay stagnant. The Rockets
Yeah, bro. I don't. I mean, I don't see OKC getting a crazy acquisition this year, but if they did, that would just be something special. Hopefully, someone who's very good from the 3 point line.
just had Kevin Durant earlier today. Teams are going to gun for the Thunder out in that Western Conference, and it's up to the Thunder to go ahead and meet that task. And I think they're very, very capable of repeating and being this perennial threat to win the championship and winning 2, 3, maybe even more rings with this group. I'd love to go ahead and see it. So, yeah, those are some of my thoughts on Game 7. I think I'm going to make a full video talking about the Thunder's trajectory, where they go from here, as well as I want to make this like documentary style video talking about the first big three until now and what that journey was like. So that'll come at some point over the summer. I want that to be a big project. For the Indiana Pacers, so much respect for Indiana. One of my favorite stories in basketball history. If the Thunder weren't here, if it was any other team representing the West, I would have been rooting so heavily for the Indiana Pacers.
He gets it, bro. The Pacers, I love the Pacers. I love their performance. I love that even though their regular season they didn't perform the best, they showed up in the postseason and just put belt to ass, bro. They swept. Who did they sweep? Did they sweep anyone? I think they swept the Bucks, or was it 4-1? But whatever. 4-1 against the Cavs, who were favorites in the East, at least for me. I thought it was going to be Cavs versus Celtics Eastern Conference Finals. 4-1 Cavs. Like 4-2 Knicks. Bro, Pacers in 6. Like that, bro, they did amazing. I love watching them play. I was rooting so hard for them in the Eastern Conference, especially because, the Knicks got my team out. But yeah,
The clutch heroics, the fact that they weren't supposed to be here. They were one of the biggest Cinderella stories in the history of professional sports, never mind just basketball. And they end up coming one game short of their ultimate goal of becoming the most unlikely champions probably ever. And
I still think they should leave this finals proud of themselves because they said this was going to be a boring finals, and the underdog of the East brought it to a game 7 against the most dominant team in the NBA. And people are going to be like, "Oh, it took OKC till 7 games." No, the Pacers are just that good. People need to stop sleeping on the Pacers. And even with Halliburton injured, people will call it a Mickey Mouse ring because he was injured. Halliburton on his own doesn't make the Pacers lethal. The Pacers are a great team. They're a phenomenal team. Siakam won Eastern Conference MVP for a reason. He's been very consistent. He's been very good. Obi Toppin and his athleticism. Nemhard with his defensive ability, taking care of SGA, bro. Neesmith was just some good athletic looks, dunking on Holmgren. Like, it was. The Pacers are an outstanding team, bro. People need to stop detracting from them. They just did so good.
really horrific part of that is the Halliburton injury. Took the air completely out of the building. and it just absolutely sucks. Of course, I want to see the Thunder win, but I never want to see injuries, regardless if it's the NBA Finals, it's Game 7, especially not to a guy like Halliburton, who is genuinely one of my favorite players in the entire sport. He's such a warrior for playing on that hurt calf when clearly Achilles injuries are a big possibility if you're dealing with a calf injury.
Yeah, yeah. I wish he didn't play. Those three threes are a part of it because he scared the hell out of me. I wish he didn't play because Achilles is much more serious than just a calf strain. Um, but it's unfortunate to see him go down. And when I saw him screaming no, like after the when it was just a loose ball and they got the and J Dub got the dunk, I was like, oh, that's pretty nice. We got the turnover. But after seeing him like on the ground, like screaming and crying, no, bro, nah, that was heartbreaking.
Whether it was Dame in the first round or Jason Tatum in the second round, and now Halliburton and Kevin Durant in the 2019 finals, I don't know if we ever see a player again play on a calf injury after these playoffs, specifically over in the Eastern Conference, because just guy after guy, superstar after superstar just dropping with those Achilles injuries. And obviously, the Pacers losing here is devastating, but now you have to think, what do they do going into next season? When is Halliburton able to come back? What moves do they make to try and shore things up? I mean, this team
When is Tatum able to come back, bro? Tatum, that absolutely ruined me, bro. Tatum and Jalen Brown.
is deep enough to hold their own without Halliburton for a majority of the season. But if they want to be back in this position trying to win a title, they need Halliburton at full strength. And I just don't know if he comes back next season, especially with the injury happening this late into the year. Even if it's like a 9-month recovery, he's not going to be back until like right at the start of the playoffs. And that's a pretty intense time to bring a guy back off that type of injury. So I don't know. It just really sucks. I just, the entire time that Halliburton has been playing on this calf injury, I've just been sitting there, I feel like the whole time, crossing my fingers and being terrified that something was going to happen, and it does end up happening here. So all the prayers in the world out to Tyrese Halliburton, all the love out to the Indiana Pacers. Genuinely one of the most terrifying teams I've ever had to watch the Thunder face. In fact, I think they are the most terrifying. I don't even think there's a conversation there when you think about the fact that even without Halliburton for a majority of this game, they fought incredibly hard, whether it was Siakam or it was Nembhard or Benedict Mathurin or TJ McConnell. Oh my God, if I never have to see TJ McConnell play the Thunder again, it'll be too soon. He finished with 16 points, had 7 turnovers, didn't feel like that. It felt like he played literally a perfect game. I'm sick of guys, whether it's TJ or PJ Washington or McConnell, like people that is a letter and then a J in their name. I need them to stop cooking the Thunder. I don't know who it's going to be next season. It was a war in this series, and it was
UI white boy. McConnell did fucking work, bro. McConnell did so much work, man.
the
Scary guy.
absolute nightmare to go up against the Indiana Pacers. I really hope next season Halliburton is able to come back at some point, or they're able to stay afloat enough for him to be able to return. And just at some point in general, the Pacers make it back to this point and they get the job done. Because I think this group, this core, is incredibly deserving of being the one to bring Indiana a championship. And it was terrifying at all moments to face the Indiana Pacers. Nothing but love for Pacers fans and this team. Again, genuinely one of my favorite sports in basketball history. And I'm not just saying that because the Thunder have won. Now, even if the Thunder lost, they were one of that would have made them probably the greatest story in NBA basketball history. But I do believe at some point this team is very capable of being back, and I hope that is the case. I think they deserve that. Just so much credit to Rick Carlisle for getting this team in position two, for coaching them, for them elevating throughout the playoffs. They proved that it wasn't a fluke, that they made the conference finals last year for a reason. They made it back here to the conference finals and then the NBA finals. And I hope someday they're back in this position. I would love to see a Thunder Pacers rematch. As the basketball fan in me within the next couple of seasons, as the Thunder fan in me, please, absolutely not. I would hate to see that because, again, this is absolutely a terrifying force of a team. But for the moment, I think those are my thoughts on Game 7 and the NBA as a whole right now for this season. I want to thank y'all for all the support in the world over the course of this year. I was able to pay for myself to be in Game 7, seeing the Oklahoma City Thunder win.
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing series. Spectacular basketball. Some games were more disappointing than others. Performances on either sides. I'm sure some games are frustrating with officiating, but that's just how basketball is. But regardless, I really think this is one of the series of all time, especially that I watched. Um, Compared to last year, it's definitely more entertaining. I'm very glad my Celtics got banned in 18, but Mavs didn't put up too much of a fight. I'm not gonna lie. But that being said, we're in the off season now. Next season is gonna be hopefully just as spectacular. But for everyone watching, take care, stay blessed. If you're on the YouTube, pull up to the Twitch, you know what it is. Go check out my socials as well. ZTKH on literally everything: Instagram, TikTok. ZTKH clips for my clips channel. But like I said, just pull up to the streams. Come on.